Hygerzyme is a family and community-owned company in its 50th year of business. They were born out of necessity, originally starting in the medical industry, and they have brought that same scientific approach to cannabis. Welcome everyone, we are here back on day 2 of MJ Viz 2024. We have such a special podcast today. I don't know if you know this, Arjan, but 9 years ago, I was watching Strain Hunters, and that inspired me to create Cannabis, and here we are today with real-world tools.
I'm happy after contribute a little.
A lot. And James prepared an incredible dinner last night we got to enjoy, so thank you guys for being here today. But without further ado, James, Loud, and Arjan.
So, we're here to talk about vertical integration and international scaling today with Arjan Roskam for Greenhouse Seed Company, Strain Hunters, powder feeding. He's the most awarded cannabis company in history, known for strains like Super Silver Haze, Super Lemon Haze, Flower Bomb Kush, White Widow. And the list goes on and on and on. He's a big inspiration for me, even in 2012. And, I think if there's anyone that knows vertical integration and international scaling, it's Arjan. So we're going to talk about Thailand since that's the latest project. So how's everything going in Thailand?
It's going really well. Yeah, we're happy.
Yeah, so you went from Amsterdam in the Netherlands with the coffee shop model, and then you expanded onto parts of Spain.
Yeah, well, we went first to Canada with Canopy a while, and that didn't work out because they had other priorities. And then we're still in Africa, small, but also we're still waiting there for export license, so it's quite complicated, which is it like everywhere, It was also 5 years ago impossible in Canada when everything just started. From America, it's still impossible because you guys are not federal here. So it's only possible from countries like Colombia, Macedonia, Portugal, and now Thailand. And there's only 4 countries really legal, which is Canada, Malta, Uruguay, and Thailand. So as I'm being like the last 40 years in Thailand, a lot, Heiko also we had a house there. And we know the country quite good. There are some great connections there. We decided to build our infrastructure there, looking at the future of cost price of marijuana and possible to expand without too many issues as where America, Holland and Canada all totally fucked up their system. So we decided to find an easier way. That's why we went to Thailand.
Nice. And so the landscape is changing over there as well. Seems like their political landscape changes from month to month. And then with the new election, how is that going to change everything?
Well, look, it's kind of medical, Growers should be GACT. That's probably where it's going to go. That was the plan from the beginning. So let's see. It's Thailand. I'm the spokesman for many things there. So can't say too much which direction it's going right now. It's a thin line there. But it's we love the country. I think for me, this is my 10th country where I live. I live there now like 2 years with Heiko and Yo mostly. And if you look at the country itself, you look at beaches, you look at food, public transport, prices, crime, there's hardly any crime in the whole country. And how nice and kind the people are is probably one of the best countries in the world to live, So that's also a big part of the reason that we thought, okay, let's settle there. Also in the north part where we are, climate is probably maybe the best in the world between August and March. Like now the nights are between 50 and 20 Celsius. The days are 25 to 30. And we have a range of options there. You probably know, no? So even in the glass houses, we get humidity down to 35%. So which is great to grow a medical product because, everything has to be really, really clean and, it's certain and very important pharmaceutical standards, otherwise you cannot export.
Yeah, and you guys are doing some really large pheno hunts there as well. You want to touch on that?
Yeah, that was great. Look, we had the option as nowhere before when we were working in Congo and South Africa. We have a lot of valleys in Congo, and myself and Dust, we had so much seeds. And then when Thailand came up, we were able, together with the Thai FDA, to import 300 strains. A lot of stuff. So when we arrived in Thailand, the first thing is we did 3 big rounds. In total, 147,000 plants. And I think we went down from to 140 to 80 keepers. And now is a consistent flow of new stuff coming. You know, there's the only place in the world where you can, on a really large scale, like Africa and Asia, you can do the stuff, you know, like if you're a breeder, you need space, you know, like it's nice if you do something at home and you can grow 100 seeds, but, you know, that doesn't really bring you somewhere, you know, you need to put at least 5 or 10,000 out, you know, to find some crazy stuff. So we had that opportunity, and this is where the new lines are coming from. So lemon orange, you know, the full gas, strawberry, nori cake now, all these new varieties that are the follow-up of super lemon hazel, all those varieties. So yeah, super blessed to have these options, you know, these high terpene profile plants now. And with these plants now, we're gonna conquer other markets, you know, in the world.
Very nice. So as far as climate out there, are you finding some of the genetics that you have traditionally grow really well out there?
Well, yes and no. Look, you're on the equator, so the big advantage is that you don't need any, what you call this? To make your...
No darkness.
Not dark, you don't need these curtains, you know, because we're 6'6" there, which is great. But on the other hand, yeah, if you grow outside, you have to pre-grow your plant unless you put sativas, you know. So, so we grow mainly for the medical market a bunch indoor. So, and we are trying out, you probably saw that the last year, we hooked up one room with Fluence, one room with Sunlight, and one room with DLI, and then we still have HPS. But you can see that from all the plants that we lately did, we didn't yet publish anything yet because we want to do like 10 crops to be sure, you know. But you can already see that under HPS, much more varieties thrive properly than under LED. Some do better under LED, but from the 20, there's only like 3, you know. So it's kind of 5 to 10%, you know. So it's very low compared both of them, you know. And terps-wise, it's a little bit different, but it's not better. It's just different.
I found out the same.
You know, it's nice terps, but you also have nice terps on the HPS, you know. But the rest of the facility, we keep going with HPS. We're not going to move into LED.
But you're not moving into LED?
For now, no.
So, because power is so cheap to learn there.
Quality is better. You know, quality is just better. You know, there's a few varieties do really well, but if you look at the buying cost of your LED and the results, you know, the HP is still king.
Nice. In the United States, we are so concerned with color right now. As far as color cannabis, people want purple. People feel about purple in Thailand.
Look, these vibes go all around the world, but they take a year and then it's over again, and then something else comes on. So yeah, it's just a trendy thing, you know. Suddenly everybody wants truffle, and everybody wants this, and then everybody wants that, you know. Candy, yes. So we brought out that candy one with super limited. I'm gonna give that away on the fair where we're gonna be together next week. Or next week or this week?
No, this Saturday.
Oh yeah, Saturday, Sunday. Yeah. Yeah. No, it's nice. But there's so many good weed now. The thing is, what I personally have a big problem with is all the hydro. I think we should all grow on soil, you know. I really have a big problem with that. I think, you know, taste-wise, nothing can beat soil. And but also health-wise, you know, like what are we putting in there? And, you know, you see this coughing disease now that's coming up. So including my son and my son-in-law have it quite bad. And they only have it when they smoke Cali weed. They don't have it when they smoke European weed, you know. So it all has to do with the nutrients, with this hydro. And if we look at our populations right now, you know, like it's not really good in European and American countries, the health situation. And if we go to a restaurant, well, we're both chefs by huge coincidence. Probably only knows that, but we all come from the background as a chef. You know, the restaurants where you eat, you want to eat organic food. Yeah, that tastes much better. So why are we all smoking hydro, especially in America? Every dispensary I walk in, it's hydro.
Well, I think part of it is because people eat with their eyes, and so with cannabis, the bag appeal and Instagram and the social media, which, social media is a blessing and a curse, but I feel like it has had negative impact on the cannabis industry because people are so concerned with how it looks, they forgot the effect of it and the taste, right? Because I think those are the two most important things that you get overlooked a lot, is effect especially. Like, how does it make you feel? Because really, we're all here for the effect.
Yeah, but I think that's part of the problem. I totally agree with you there, but I think the bigger problem is the spreadsheets of Wall Street. So all these investors that are involved,
100%.
I think, and all those growers should push back on that. They can't, because they need all 70 gram or 60 gram of feed, otherwise it's not good, And you can only reach that on rockall. You can't reach that on soil. But, I don't know, I would never go to a hydro restaurant.
That's for sure. So, circling back to Thailand, what are some of the challenges you faced since you started working in Thailand?
Well, I work with 200 people, none of them speaks English. That's kind of the biggest challenge. And then, just a lot, Look, here we have an industry, and in Europe we have some kind of industry, but there was no industry. Now, luckily, I'm in the north, so I'm in the agriculture area. So most of the women come from the rice fields, and they have some kind of background, and they're hard workers, So, but still, it's a challenge, and sometimes you have to explain 6, 7, 8, 9 times the same thing, which we don't have in Europe or in America. But lately we figured out, we make a little video, and they put it on the phone, and then they figure it out.
So video SOVs.
Video SOVs. Yeah, end of discussion. Yes.
So and so you have a vertically integrated model, which is pretty impressive because you do the cultivation and then you also have dispensaries.
Yeah. So, we opened 6 dispensaries. Well, next week we're opening the last one, 6. There's 5 in Bangkok and 1 in Savoy. And we really did that to sponsor our own growth, of course, and create brand awareness in Thailand, People really like it. And it's like, we have 5 in Amsterdam, we have 1 in Africa, we have 1 in Barcelona. So it's good for our brand, and we like to hang out. We have 1 around the corner where we live in Bangkok. Well, you've been there? No, not yet. Oh, no, not yet. And so, it's our hobby, it's not our core business. Our core business is seeds and selling GMP weed. But it's just nice to have those shops, I'd just like to be there, smoke a joint, Also in Amsterdam, it came from the 60s and the 70s. And it's the only place in the world where you see a white guy, a Chinese guy, a black guy, and a yellow guy smoking a joint. So it was very important for the integration in Amsterdam, And it's just it's a very social place, where people integrate to each other. So I think comp shop system is maybe the best system in the world. Unfortunately, it's still only in Holland, and now we have it a little bit in Thailand. And in Thailand also we got the booze back in. We got the champagne and the cocktails. So that's quite nice. Next week we're opening Koh San Road. And I grew up as a young boy there when I was 17, 18, 19, going to Thailand with a Rosek. And now in that same street I have a hotel and a coffee shop, dispensary. So it's quite funny. We just came from there, me and Yola. It was nice, eh? So we're opening, I think, in 10 days, whatever.
So as far as brand awareness out there, how do consumers purchase cannabis? Is it based on, are they looking for specific genetics, or are they just looking to eye, or?
Well, look, there's a big culture there in Asia, this golden triangle, yeah? So Thai sticks in the 60s and the 70s to America. There's a famous Thai guy who was 15 years in a federal prison here, later became minister in Thailand. So there is quite awareness about local strains and also some of the important ones, American strains, European strains. But this is all new also for them, There's a range of genetics and the people come in there. Of course, there's poorer parts that cannot afford it, $10 a gram, there's $5 grams, there's all kinds of stuff. But there's a huge tourist industry, of course. This year we will hit 35 million tourists. And the promise we made to the governments that by 2030 we will have 80 million tourists. So we have 45 million to go.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so what are your thoughts on Germany and the new market in Germany? I know for seeds, you guys have done really well in Germany.
Yeah, we're doing really well in Germany, and as a matter of fact, it's one of the first countries we're going to export our wheat to next year. So we also have a German company and a Thai company, and probably somewhere May, June, July next year, we hope, we're going to export to Germany. So, and then the reason also we're in Thailand is that we can keep our costs really low, you know, so we can compete with the whole world and have a great product. And we can have it in a pharmacy where it's for a very reasonable price, where it can meet the prices of the streets. So where your mother and my mother, you know, if they need medical cannabis, can walk in and feel safe and get it for a very reasonable price, you know, like for $7, $8, $9 a gram, which is great, you know, which is even cheaper as in my shop, for example.
Right.
Yeah.
Nice. So you also do seed production in Thailand, and how has that impacted the company?
Well, we just finished that because we worked in stages. So we built the first huge Thai indoor to supply the Thai market. We supply like 200 dispensers. Then we finalized the GMP, which we are now finalizing. And then we just built also the seed company with 26 rooms, where we can produce between 100 and 200 kg of flour. Well, we got some projects going on together. So, yeah, we'll see next year, you know. We did the first crop, just came out with seeds. I published it last week. Got flagged on Instagram, by the way, for that post.
Of course.
What's new? Yeah.
Yeah, social media is just such a blessing and a curse.
Oh, man, it's horrible. It's molest.
It's absolutely necessary that they make it really difficult for people in the industry. And you guys have navigated it fairly well. You had a huge following on Instagram and social media.
Yeah, we have, we lost a lot. We used to have like 300-400 million hits with all my grow DVDs. They took that all off. So Heiko had a big fight with Google. In the end, he was able to get all the documentaries back, you know, as documentary, but we lost all the other views. And then, yeah, the Instagram we lost a few times, big time. But if you look now, I made some pictures. You probably saw the picture of us with Dua Lipa last week in Bangkok. Even that they flagged. So people are reporting, you know, like me and Dua Lipa, you know, there's nothing to do with marijuana. There's not even a bud or a joint or a flower behind us, you know. And they're flagging that kind of things. But it has probably to do, I publish a lot about Palestine, you know, about kids, only kids. And, you know, you get some shit for that.
Yeah, that'll happen. Trust now.
That's it is. That's how it is.
And so how do you feel about the United States and the markets in the United States? Do they feel like we're a powerhouse, obviously, in the cannabis space? And then as far as coffee shops in the future?
Yeah, well, look, it's totally surprising that I think there's smokers areas now, but there's no dispensers where you can live the smoke like Amsterdam, no? They don't exist yet. I think that would be the perfect thing, you know. Unfortunately, things are going in the wrong direction, and in Canada and in America with all these listed companies. I think the listed companies is a huge problem. I was just going through the figures with Heiko in Canada, and since 2018, 2019, $770 billion got evaporated. And this is all mom and pops investing in listed companies, you know. I think it's a huge scandal, you know. It's really corruptism to the max, you know. And same for the American listed companies. You see people losing $300 million in 3 months, you know, like, whereas it should be like in the wine, you know. There should be few small craft families with their own coffee shop where you feel comfortable when you go buy it, instead of you going to these big chains that grow hydro wheat and, you know, are listed and making hundreds and millions of loss, you know. I think it's the wrong direction. But yeah, this is how it is, unfortunately, here.
Yeah, we always have time to change. I think California's starting to get smoking lounges. That just got approved recently. So by 2025, you should start seeing smoking and consumption lounges in California.
But with the dispenser where you can buy?
Yeah, they do. Well, in San Francisco, they already have that. So Barbary Coast, there's a couple places, but it's going to be a lot larger. You know, I think that First, my opinion about California is they need the farm-to-table model where you can actually go purchase from the farms. You could purchase the farm, especially places like Humboldt. These places are suffering because of the industry and taxation. It'd be much easier, and you get a farm tour, taste the product, have a whole day of it, watch the processing, watch the post-harvest to the post-harvest. I think that will change the bottle completely. And you can do that over in Thailand.
Yeah, I do that in Holland, well, not in Holland, because there the farm is not, I'm not allowed to come. But in Thailand, yes, or from farm to table. And not only that, we grow poly wheat, we grow indoor wheat. And then from the varieties like lemon and orange, we have the dry sift, we have the pollinator, we have the bubble hash, we have the rosin. So you can have it in 6 different ways, for example, which is quite unique, And I think if you would adopt a situation like that in California or in Canada, where there's a farm and where we can buy, so you have the whole experience, people will feel more motivated and have a better connection to that specific dispensary. Because the same family is growing in whatever organic way, bringing to the dispensary where you can buy it and where you can use it on site and have a great time. I think that will make a big difference. And you can win from big chains like McDonald's and Burger Kings that you also going to have in the marijuana thing, where you lose contact, where only, sorry to say, but where only idiots go to eat, It's not a real hamburger, We're eating paper.
It's a real shitty hamburger. But and the funny thing is, it's just like the cannabis industry, though. I think there's something for everybody. So there's some people that just don't care, and then there's other people that want to consume the best, but they'll tell you why do big.
Yeah. Well, look, I like my food, I want it to be organic. I don't want to have food taste like last night. It was a great dinner, I don't want to spoil that,
Sure.
Life is too short to eat one day bad food.
I agree.
Then don't eat. Wait a day.
It's better to not eat than you shouldn't eat.
Yeah.
Same thing with weed, though.
Yeah, same thing.
Whether not smoke if it's not...
No. Same with meat, we should not eat too much meat. That if we eat it should be great.
Circling back to Thailand again, where do you plan on going next after you?
Well, now we're expanding the factory, so we are GACP now. Within a few months, we are GMP, which we are finalizing now. So that's going to take another 3 months, and then next year our whole focus is on export and getting our stuff on the shelves, on the right places with the right people. There's the good distribution partners, which is key. And and then make more movies, start branding,
Yeah, so the Strain Hunters, where are you guys going next?
I have a great one coming up, but as you know, we never reveal where we go because of security. This one is quite tricky. The only thing I can say is we're going to go through the mountains on horses, somewhere very interesting. We have 3 of them lined up. And Strain Hunters came 20 years ago, 2004 or so, 2004, 5. I was called in by the mayor and our lawyers, and they were panicking because in Holland, probably the same in America and Canada, you're not allowed to advertise for drugs. So the name Greenhouse was in the movies, and everybody said they're going to take away our license, blah, blah, blah. So, I was breaking my head how I'm going to solve this problem. I came up with a new name. So where now I can basically promote us and show the world around the equator what is going on, So there's 200 million poor farmers depending on marijuana around the equator, which many people don't know. For example, Africa, where I'm from, and ICO, the kids cannot go to school because they don't have money to buy fences for the cattle. And if they don't watch the cattle, they eat the vegetable field and the whole fucking family dies, So it's quite sad. So we're trying to show this kind of stuff, how important that is. And in the same time, we create awareness for cannabis, So after we did Colombia legalized. We did St. Vincent and the Grenadines. The Prime Minister went on television and basically said, I'm not going to arrest people anymore with an ounce of weed while America and Canada are legal right now. Doesn't make sense. Thailand, now is legal. ICO has been working very hard since 2018, 22, they legalized. Congo, we changed the constitution in Congo with our team. And now medical marijuana is legal. You can obtain a license, still very difficult, but we're getting there. South Africa, Morocco, Swaziland, Malawi, all these countries are legalizing now, which is great. And we've been working a lot in Argentina too with the government there. But yeah, our main priority, of course, is which strain hunters. That's why we just shot the movie in Thailand. Is of course Thailand, because the government there was very, very helpful and understands us, and the business, and wants to go forward with us. And so that's what we try to create with strain hunters. The awareness and making sure that people understand what it's all about.
Hygersheim is a family and community-owned company in its 50th year of business. They were born out of necessity, originally starting in the medical industry, and they have brought that same scientific approach to cannabis.
So how do you feel about some of these Canadian LPs and large corporations going to places like St. Vincent and the Grenadines or to the Cargo to produce biomass and other things to export it?
Yeah, well, they're only losing money. That's all I can say. I don't think there's one company making money. If we look at the figures, even of this year, they all lose between $300 and $900 million. I don't know who's paying the bill, but it's ridiculous. We call it corruptism, And moms and pops are apparently keep pushing money into the listed companies.
So what do you think the optimal way for these communities and countries around the world that are looking to infuse money into their countries, for their people, what do you think the best model for it is?
I think best model is if you have a really good group of people, a family that is a really good grower, find a financer or one person who wants to join the team and not 20, and make a really good business plan that stretches from 5 to 10 years where you want to be, with certain milestones and work like that. So have a private finance instead of something out of the capital market where you get pushed in the wrong direction and make the wrong decisions because you have no choice. So I think that is the only way for the future. You see that in many industries. You see that in the wine industry. And most of those successful small entrepreneurs have moved on like that, with one or two guys as a backup. I think that's a much better approach if you want to grow. In our cases, I started growing in '83, opened my first club in '92. We never had nobody financing, so we financed everything out of ourselves. So every time we had a little money, we opened something again, same as we do in Thailand. We just grow organically. So we have no loans from banks or from other people, we just put our own money in. So we're not depending on any pressure, so if things go wrong, there's bad months, but it is not a bad time,
So do you think these countries around the world and these places and people that want to get their piece of the cannabis pie should be focusing on things like biomass, or do you think they should be focusing on things like the brands that have an identity in places that, exporting stuff that has an identity more so than biomass?
Well, look, if you look at the wine industry, for example, in Australia, you have a big company called Westcorp, and they have a lot of different ones. So there is going to be space for everybody. There's going to be huge companies that sell, let's say, supermarket weed, You will have those guys, and then you will have the craft families, that sell a great product. I think those will be, in the future, the strongest one. You can see that in the wine too, If it's good people, we know a few of them, they will survive. You need a great brand. You need to be a great grower. You have to have everything in place, but that's for everything. You want to be an IndyCar driver or you want to go to the Olympics, you have to be great too, And it's not so easy anymore because, there's a lot of people in this grower week, I think in Oregon there are more licenses than there are people, Do you see that something like that? I heard it's like crazy. It's like 1 on 3 or something. Yeah, what can you expect,
Well, yeah, and then it just takes the whole market. It's a race to the bottom. So that's the one thing that I think a lot of try to avoid.
Yeah, so then you have to be a great brand and a good grower. You come with something new, That's why I said if you have your own dispensary and you announce and you film, what we also always did, we filmed all our stuff, We are one of the few people that film what we do. And like now we're dropping Super Lemonades times RS11. We're dropping Super Lemonades times GMO and times Pink Candy. Every time we come with new stuff, new tastes. And I think that's good for any respectable brand.
Well, then you still have your staples, right? So you're a Super Lemon Haze. He's always a staple.
Yeah, well, Super Lemon Haze is probably the plant used the most in the world for breeding and for everything, So yeah, we are. That's one of our flagship varieties. But now you see the lemon orange and the full gas coming. Also King's Juice, for hash, is probably the number one extraction plant in the world. And if you find a good pheno, we flower it off indoor in 6 weeks and 2 days, which is like really fast.
Really fast.
And it's just that one looks a little blue reddish. Just we had that discussion before. So a lot of options.
So if somebody is trying to maintain quality as they scale, what are some recommendations that you can make?
I think where everybody goes wrong post-harvest, drying, curing, that's where everybody fails nearly. You really need to nail that down. Like everything under 14 days doesn't work. You can dream do it in 7 days, in 9 days, 11 days. You have a good product, but you don't have the best. So you need 14 days. You have to play the last 4 days with the humidity and the temperature. And then it's the way, how are you going to box it, Unfortunately, I can't do it for GMP. But for the Thai market, I do everything in cardboard boxes. So not plastic. Everybody goes in plastic. The cardboard breeds and. So I think that's why our wheat is better than the rest. And then we cure it a few weeks before we take it out of the boxes and manicure and store it. And everything keeps under the same temperature, humidity. So the whole GMP line we have.
All the way through
the way through. Yes, even the car that drives to Bangkok. Because then you don't lose the quality. That's the only way. And it's quite complicated. It's easier if you have 10 lights, and it gets more difficult when you have 50. And it gets nearly impossible when you have 500 lights, So, and then again, it's a spreadsheet, It's like every room, should have a dry room behind, Because you cannot hang stuff from other rooms 3 days later in the same room, which everybody does. But we refuse, That's one of the main things. So it's post-harvest where 99% of this stuff goes wrong with growers. And it's not always the fault of the grower, it's just a lack of financial issues, we can't build too many dry rooms because we already, spent too much money in the overhead there or whatever.
Or no space.
Well, that's the other big problem, You see vertical grow, Which, I understand. I think it came from a system in California where you pay for square feet tax and not if you go up.
Yeah, I think it was adapted from the lettuce industry.
Yeah.
They took it from the lettuce industry, some of these 5-stack.
Yeah, but lettuce industry is not flour, it's a leaf,
For sure. Yeah, and I think there's challenges, and I think for some people it works.
Well, it works for the bulk industry, that you can never get a perfect product.
Yeah, and then what are your thoughts on other cannabinoids?
I have no experience with that. I was with the guys from Aliens last year, 2 years ago. They were just trying it out. I heard good things about it. I don't know if it's necessary, But of course, it's one of the many things we're looking at.
Yeah, I think they're really great carcinogens. Yeah. We use them. We use Favens. I'm a huge fan of Favens. I think increase in yields. Gotta love Bobby Bags. She's been on the podcast.
Yeah, I heard 20-25% more. But then, okay, you're going to need more air conditioning, more DEM. Of course, you're going to put more heat.
Well, again, depending on the environment, if you have a greenhouse that has low PPFD in the winter and you can't do winter runs, you can use just under... I have a friend who's using just under canopy lights in his greenhouse during the winter, and now getting a yield, he's able to do seed drops. So I think there's a time and a place for everything. There's a time and a place for double stacks. If you're a nursery model, it's
Yeah, there's a time and place for all those kind of things, but they're not ideal.
Correct.
If you have cheap real estate, why should you stack,
Yeah, for sure.
It's like, if you really look at the situation, at the end of the day, we all become potato farmers. I said that 20 years ago on all the things that went on, And you just tell me, which potato farmer farms potatoes in the city?
None.
So why are we with our growers in the city? Because we've been pushed there by the cops. That's the only reason we are there. But it's silly. Why you want to grow marijuana in the city? There's no trees growing, there's no tomatoes growing, there's no grapes growing. Why are we growing in the city?
Honestly, I don't know. Well, so it's just...
Because of the cops.
No, but it started in the 70s with the police. You know, I think that's what got us the only resource.
That's why I grew illegal in Amsterdam in the city, because they couldn't find us.
Right. And so
It doesn't make sense, no?
well, and so there's this difference in price between indoor and outdoor, and I think outdoor in some ways is a superior product. You know, if you look on social media, obviously the indoor products could be better, but as far as effect, no. I mean, I think I've refocused my breeding onto effect recently. One of my friends passed away on 420 this year, and he was all about breeding for effect, and he gifted me his seed library of about 70,000 seeds that he was breeding for effect. And so that got me thinking, like, what are we doing this for? I mean, social media has us trying to grow stuff that looks a certain way, and I think that, you know, there's commercial viability that's unfortunate. But again, we smoke because we like the way it makes us feel. We like the way it tastes.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think we underestimate a lot there. You know, we grow basically for terpenes, for the taste. I think that's much more important, like food in a restaurant. So you see like the really good terpenes, you know, like lemon, orange and all those guys, they all go 24, 26, 27. We technically score lower than you guys in America, but that's because your testing in America is pure fraud. I'm just going to say it straightforward. Everything is pumped up, yeah? So whereas your 32 is the same as our 27, kind of. But I think it's like 5 points different, but it's the same. It's just a different method of testing.
Oh, and the problem in the United States is, depending on what lab you go to, there could be a 10% difference in testing, right? Cannabinoids, it's just all over the place because it's incentivized. Now, I'm not big on government oversight in the cannabis industry, but I do think we need more oversight with testing. I feel like that's the biggest problem.
The question is more, you know, like I think weed that's between 24 and 28, or let's say between 20 and 28, tastes 27 maybe, tastes much better than weed above there, you know? But also if you take sativas, you know, like take my one Snow Super Silrace, if they're 23, 24, we get much higher than one from 30. Yeah, because of the combination of flavonoids and terpenes, it's much higher effect, you know? It's like a mental high compared to this body couch lock stones, you know?
For sure.
So it doesn't always say that if you're high in THC, then it's better, you know? It's like go to this all-you-can-eat restaurant.
Well, so how do you think that's going to change for the future? Because I feel like the cannabinoids, especially THC, is how people buy weed. But is that how they buy weed in Thailand as well, or?
Some. The biggest example was Las Vegas, you know, when it started here, everybody wanted to have 30%, you know. But you see shifting. Also in Amsterdam, you don't see that anymore, you know.
45%. That's the year.
Yeah, but I think really technically, I think there's some science behind it. Technically, you could go until 36, I think. That is the absolute max you could have in a plant because, yeah, you also have sticks and leaves, no?
Sure.
It's just not order.
Well, no, it's wild. But because there's no oversight, there's incentives for these labs and also these companies to have higher test results. So when you do that, basically, you're incentivizing all these people to get higher lab results, which basically screws up the whole system. And I think there needs to be more standardization here. And it's just one of the flawed things in the United States.
Well, you know, people should just make up their mind what they like, you know. And I think the people in our industry are smart enough to see what they smoke, you know. And yeah, unfortunately, there's a lot of people who go to the wrong places. But, you know, it's just creating awareness over time being people who understand, you know.
Yeah, I think a more educated market will have a brand trust. They'll trust different brands, you know, and once you're more educated on stuff, you're going to go for things to like specifically. I think genetic names like Skittles, people know what they're going to get. So.
Yeah, exactly. That's what they want. So people will get more awareness. And it's also the people behind the brand who market the brand, you know, that people will go there.
Yeah, and in California, some of the celebrity brands that came on early had really bad quality products. And they were basically banking on the fact that we had this celebrity behind the bits. And the thing is that ended up not being successful. Like it needs 5 or 6 different brands that came out with big celebrities where they now call it a product. You know, in their uneducated markets, now as soon as the market becomes more educated, we're going to want better quality products. You might get them once, but you're not going to get them for a second sale.
No, well, we had the experience in Canada, you know, where we were going to make Snoop Dogg and Drake and then Martha Stewart, and then they turned on it. And later I was making it to where Jay-Z was in our shop yesterday, and now it was 700 million. And I told him the approach was not good. He said, we'll figure it out together.
Also, like the little tent.
I lost 700 million. Let it on in bloody 1 year. So how the hell you lose 700 million in 1 year? Oh, how does that work?
I have no idea.
In America and Canada, you guys lose billions in 1 year. How does that work?
No, I plug into the camera.
I think it's so. So that's money from stock market. And they all blow it up on salaries and crazy stuff,
Yeah,
Lawyers. Yeah, but I see kids that are 24, 25 getting their master grower, they call them here in America. We have a sign on the wall, we don't work with master growers, but yeah, I mean, that's the biggest way. 200, they're 25, they get $200,000. How is that possible? So, of course, you're going to go broke.
For shoes. But I think there's time based on anything too. Like, there are people that are probably later back out.
Yeah, but not if you're 24, bro.
Well, yeah. 4 years experience or 5 years.
Yeah, or 1.5.
Or the resume says 20 years experience. But yeah, the term master grower to me is a big red flag. So when people call themselves master grower, I see a resume with faster growers. Big red flag. It typically.
There's many good growers,
So you have Thai growers, and then you guys.
Well, it's basically me and Dust, and then now we have 2 Canadians, one half Dutch, half Canadian, and another Canadian guy. Since only 3 months, but that's because of the GMP part. Like, our facility is quite big. This year we're going to produce 2,700 kilo. So what's that, 5,000 pounds? So we need a lot of people. And when Heiko is taking care of the GMP, I can't do that because I'm too busy. And it's really a lot of work. I think the amount of paperwork is 1.40 meters, which is at 6 feet.
Yeah.
Of SOPs. And I hate reading. I'm not going to do it. So we took 2 experienced guys to help us out there, So they're going to do that part. We do the growing. But, if it's pharma, it has to have an amazing amount of traceabilities and a million SOPs. So that's actually the only 2. But the first 2 years, me and we want to have an advantage above the rest of the world. So nobody really knew we were there, So we went straight from the Bangkok airport to the other little airport and straight to the north, But at one point, everybody will start recognizing us. And then we opened, May last year, we opened the first shop. So then we came out in the open and we were there, Yeah.
So as far as Thailand, how do pre-rolls and carts do? What are your thoughts on pre-rolls and carts for the future?
We sell pre-rolls now. We don't know what the future is going to bring because we have 27 licenses. There's only 2 people with extraction license. I'm not really sure where it's going. But because we are GMP, we're going to export. It's in our portfolio. Now we only make dry sift, bubble hash, rosin, and pre-rolls. But where that is going in the future, I'm not really sure yet. No idea.
I think it's going in the direction of hand rolls and pre-rolls and extracted carts just because of...
Do you mean in general?
In general. Oh. It's great in general, too.
Well, look, there's always the person who comes to buy the flower and is in a rush and wants to smoke a joint in a car and takes a joint with her, yeah. And then there is the people who... I can never figure that out because even my kids, they say I make the worst joints. Yeah? But I make more... Yeah. More people agree on that. But listen, I work 18 hours a day. I don't have time to make a joint. So I roll really quickly and I put it in my paper. I smoke it. Right. But then you have the guy who's going to take all the little branches out and the leaves and it takes 25 minutes before he's done. And then he also takes the rosin and make the little snake in there and that's him, yeah? But that's the guy who's got hours free every day. Sure. So I don't have that, unfortunately. But, for everything there is something. But I think the hash will be more and more. If you see our bubble hash, it's really amazing. Rosin, of course, will never go away anymore because it tastes amazing, live rosin. So that will stay. Then you have the cheaper versions like the dry sift, pollinator.
Oh, yeah, these new static extractors. I mean, just
the whole statics thing now, Yeah,
they're going to Morocco with static machines. It's pretty wild.
Yeah. So, yeah, there's for everything, there's a market, Especially for the nice brands that, like you can be a little bit different. Because the bulk guys are not going to go into that. It's way too complicated for them,
Right.
So, yeah, there you can make a difference with your varieties.
Yeah, I think people are going, I feel like we're going in this direction of convenience. People want everything handed to I think we live in a world of convenience. So in my opinion, the hand rolls, I like the hand rolls better, but I think quality is going to dictate a lot of it.
Yeah, look, that's a little bit the problem with the hand rolls. I don't know if you saw how we did in Thailand. We work with these cans, these tuna cans that are sealed without nitrogen, by the way. We don't put nitrogen because the climate there is quite complicated with the humidity. So we're going to try to keep that good. But you see that everywhere. We have the same problem in Amsterdam. Joints, you have to crush them and you can only keep them certain amounts. So we make them like every week fresh, So it's a problem product, let's call it that way. It's not like you have a kilo in a bag and you can open it two months later. No, this joint at one point has to be smoked, because otherwise it dries out, Especially like here, like in Las Vegas and Colorado, All my friends that have grows that, like it's pain in the ass,
As far as I guess we touched on strain hunters. How about powder feeding? We didn't really touch on powder feeding because you're also a nutrient company owner. You guys ship internationally.
Yeah, we ship internationally, worldwide. We're like, for example, in South America, we control like 60% of the market. I think it's the number one product in the world. It's very easy, it's a one component. Of course, if your water is not so good, you have to add calcium and you can add a booster. But it's a one component, which everybody 10 years ago said is not possible. But slowly you see all people using, especially people in the house,
And so many other brands are now copying your model.
Yeah, now everybody is getting the powder, Technically, if you think about all the liquid guys, it doesn't make sense, You're bringing water to the ocean. Yeah?
Our big footprint, it's just, it's that simple.
So for us, especially in countries where it's more complicated, like 1 kilo of this powder is 1,000 liters nearly. And you put it through your soil and it's good. And then every 3 weeks you add a little. So it's super easy. And you see nearly every hobby grower in Germany, in Switzerland, in Spain using it. Big grow operations don't use it because they're all liquids. They make them own or they buy them from some certain companies. But I like to propagate sustainability. So that's why we sell the organic product and we sell it also in mineral form for the guys who want to do rockwool or cocoa or whatever, Yeah, I think price-wise and easy-wise, not 17 bottles, And if you try our organic stuff, there's nothing better, tastes better than that stuff.
So if you have one piece of advice to someone coming into the industry or into the space, what would that one piece of advice be?
Well, it's very difficult now. I'm not going to lie about that, Find a good group that you can work with. And if your dream is to start for yourself one day, the only thing I can tell you is going to be really hard work. And you have to work like 15 to 18 hours a day, create your own brand, grow organically, don't invest too much from other people. And always make sure you keep the majority in your own company. So nobody can run away with whatever. That's the biggest problem.
Well, thank you so much for your time.
You're most welcome. Thank you for having us.
Absolutely. We're doing a podcast next week. It'll probably air in 3 or 4 weeks after that. But thank you for your time.
You're welcome.
Hygersheim is a family and community-owned company in its 50th year of business. They were born out of necessity, originally starting in the medical industry, and they have brought that same scientific approach to cannabis.